Indonesian National Route 1. Indonesian National Route 1 is a major road in Java, Indonesia. It passes through 5 provinces along the north coast: Banten, Jakarta, West Java, Central Java, and East Java. It connects Merak and Ketapang. Merak is a ferry terminal to Sumatra and Ketapang is ferry terminal to Bali. This national route is also called Pantura, an abbreviation of Pantai Utara/North Coast, or Trans-Java. Besides the arterial roads, the route also includes the entirety of the Trans-Java Toll Road. Route: Merak Sialgang Serang Tangerang Jakarta Bekasi Tambun Sekarang Karawang Klari Kasam Bidauguan Sikampek Sukamandi Pamanyukan Kandang Horlobaner Jatabarang Palamanan Waru Sayarban Lasari Pejeg. Description: Banten. Route 1 starts on the confluence of Route 19 in Jalan Raya Merak and entry to Merak Ferry Terminal, also the last railway crossing of Tanah Abang Merak Railway Line. The route runs southeastwardly until an intersection with JL. Alternative Toll Merak, Atas Upper Merak Toll Alternative Road. After that, the route mostly goes in southward direction for 2.8 km inside Sialgan Industrial Zone before reaching a railway crossing with Western Railway Line. 8 kilometers later, Route 3 from Labuan merges with Route 1 in downtown Sialgan. From here, the segment of Great Post Road built by Herman Willem Deendels in Route 1 begins. Route 1 then runs for 5 km before reaching an intersection with Route 19 from Bojonggara and Southern Ring Road. In that segment, the route crosses over the railroad with flyover in village of Sipukang. The route then enters Serang Regency and stretching not until 6 km in southeast direction before reaching the western limit of Serang City, provincial capital of Banten. The streets in Serang designated as Route 1 are JL. Mayor Cafai, JL. Tirtayasa, JL. Maulana Yusuf, JL. Yani, and JL. Sudirman. In Serang City segment of Route 1, there are 2 intersections leading to Tangerang Merak Toll Road, Serang Barat and Serang Timur, and a level crossing in village of Sumerpekam. After 14 km running in Serang City in west-east direction, Route 1 eventually goes into Serang Regency again. Continuing 5 km east, it intersects with Siujung Toll Plaza. After crossing Siujung River, it turns southeastwards until Sekand, then it is aligned eastwards again. A bridge over Sekand River marks the end of Serang Regency segment, and Route 1 enters Tangerang Regency. The route's Tangerang Regency section mostly runs eastwards for 7.5 km before 3-way intersection at Sisoko. From here, the route moves northeastwards for 5.5 km leading for Balaraja. An interchange with Balaraja Barat Toll Plaza exists in this section. After a 3-way intersection in Balaraja, it goes eastwards for 500 m and then southeastwards for 8 km before reaching Sakupa. There are many industrial area between Balaraja and Sakupa. The route then moves northwards for 1 km and eastwards for 3.5 km. After the intersection with Betong Toll Plaza, the route runs northwards. Some 2 km later, the route encounters the southern limit of Tangerang City. Route 1 then follows southwest-northeast direction for 3 km, and then the route turns eastwards for 3 km. In Tangerang City, the streets designated as Route 1 are JL. Raya Serang JL. Gatot Subroto, JL. Merdeka, and JL. Don Magat. In Pabuaran, the route goes northeast again for 1.5 km until reaching Sisadane River. After the river, Route 1 is divided. The eastbound section follows JL. Benteng Jaya running parallel with Sisadane River, and the westbound section follows JL. Don Magat. JL. Benteng Jaya then merges with JL. Don Magat and runs eastwards, parallel with Mukervart Canal. 2.7 km later, the route crosses the Mukervart, and the Banten section of Route 1 ends 3 km later. Jakarta. When entering West Jakarta, Route 1 still runs eastwards and parallel with the Mukervart. 3.5 km east of Banten-Jakarta border, the route interchanges with Johor West 1. The route continues 6.5 km eastwards, crossing over Sengkering Drain, Ankh River, and Western Railway Line. In Grogol, it has an interchange with Jakarta Inner Ring Road Pluit Tameng section. From here, Route 1 turns northwards, following Jail, Satria Raya and then Jail, Dr. Lotumetan parallel with, marking its divergence with the old Great Post Road continuing eastwards as Jail, Kaya Tapa. Route 1 also intersects with Route 2 running southwards as Jail, Letjend, S. Parman. After crossing over Grogol River, Jail, Dr. Lotumetan converges with Jail, Dr. Makali and then Jail. Dr. Lotumetan goes across Siliwangi River. An intersection with Jail, Pangaran Tubagus Ankh marks the entrance of Route 1 into North Jakarta approximately 1 kilometer after crossing Siliwangi. The route then goes northward for 1 km as Jail, Jembatan Dua and then Jail, Jembatan Tiga before entering an intersection with Harbour Toll Road in Jembatan Tiga. Continuing 750 m north, it turns eastwards as Jail, Pluit Selatan Raya for 1.3 km after reaching a junction near Atmajaya Catholic University of Indonesia. The route then enters the Old City, running concurrently with Jail, Jadong Panjang Jail, Pakan and Jail, Karapu. After leaving Sunda Kelapa, Route 1 runs eastwards for 10 km as Jail, Laden Raya Jail, Re, Martadinata Jail, Taman Stasiun Priok, and Jail, Enggano. In Jail, Re, Martadinata, the route runs parallel with Harbour Toll Road, Ankol River, and Inner-City Railway Line Jakarta-Kota to Tanjung Priok segment. It passes near Tanjung Priok Port. After Tugu Junction, it runs southwards for 6.5 km as Jail, Lax, Yos Sudorso, parallel with Sunter River. Wioto Wiono Toll Road lies above the route between Sungai Bambu and Pilomas. Along this segment, there are 2 access entering for the toll road. Route 1 intersects with Route 13 in Jail, Suprapto in Pilomas, and then it turns eastwards. Route 1 initially runs southeastward for 4 km, and then 1 kilometer eastward after 3-way junction with Jail, Bekasi Raya. Kakam River marks the complete entrance of the route into East Jakarta. Continuing 1.3 km eastward, it interchanges with Johor East 2 in Kakang. The route's segment in Jakarta ends 3.5 km later when it crosses Bendungan Merah River. West Java. There are 6 streets designated as Route 1 in Bekasi City, Jail, Sultan Agong Jail, Sudirman Jail, Ayani Jail, Kutmusha Jail, H. Wanda, and Jail, Diponegoro. In Bekasi City, Route 1 initially runs southward as Jail, Sultan Agong for 3.5 km and turns southeastward after overpassing Northern Railway Line at Kranji Station. Jail, Sultan Agong changes as Jail, Sudirman 1.5 km later after a 3-way junction with Jail, Patuha. Continuing 600 m east, Route 1 turns southward as Jail, Ayani after a junction near Bekasi Stadium. It encounters an interchange with Jakarta Cikampek Toll Road after running not until 2 km, and it then turns eastwards 800 m later after Pekayan Junction. After crossing Bekasi River, it encounters a junction in Rawa Panjang and Jail. Kutmusha carries Route 1. It then curves to the northeast, and Jail, H. Wanda merges 2.5 km later, after which the route is carried eastwards by Jail, H. Wanda. Jail, Diponegoro begins to carry Route 1 after crossing a stream 1.5 km later. Continuing 800 m east, Route 1 reaches Bekasi Regency after crossing Saluman River. The Bekasi Regency section of Route 1 mostly goes eastwards for approximately 28 km, passing through the communities of Tambun, Sibitang, Sikarang, and Keding Waringin. The route overpasses Northern Railway line in Cikarang, the seat of Bekasi Regency. In Kedingwaringin, Route 1 crosses over Citarum River into Karawang Regency. There are 10 streets designated as Route 1 in Bekasi Regency: Jail Sultan Hasanuddin, Jail Tuku Umar, Jail Imam Banjol, Jail Fatahillah, Jail Re Martidinata, Jail Hos Kakrominoto, Jail Yos Sudorso, Jail Gatot Sabroto, Jail Raya Lema Abang, and Jail Raya Rengisban. Route 1 then proceeds into the urban center of Karawang, carried by Jail Pangkal Perwangan, the newest bypass street before the completion of Karawang Outer Ring Road for 2.5 km. Jail Pangkal Perwangan then merges with Jail Ahmad Yani in Karawang Indah Junction and continuing southeastwards as Jail Ahmad Yani for 2 kilometers before encountering a three-way junction in front of Karawang Mall. Route 1 then turns southeastwards as Jail to Perv and running for approximately 5 km before encountering a junction with Karawang Outer Ring Road. Continuing 1.5 km southeast, it overpasses railway line in Klari and then going for 500 m before encountering a junction with a street connecting it with Karawang Timur Toll Plaza of Jakarta Cikampek Toll Road and Suryasipta City of Industry. Route 1 then curves to the east and going for 14 km has Jail Raya Klari, Jail Raya Kasambai, and Jail Ahmed Yani before reaching Cikampek flyover that's spanning over railway line of Cikampek Padalarang. Parallel with that railway, there is Route 4 branching off beneath the flyover. Continuing 2.5 km east as Jail Jen Sudirman, Route 1 reaches Jamin Junction, where a branch of Route 1 merges after running from Mushiara Junction as long as 2 kilometers. A railway line connecting Cikampek and Prujakan Station in Sayurban stretches beneath the flyover carrying Route 1 adjacent with Jamin Junction. Continuing 8 kilometers northeastwards as Jail Raya Pangula, Route 1 turns eastwards in Jatisari for 1.7 km, still as Jalan Raya Pangula. In this section, the route runs parallel with Silamere River. Upon entering Sabang Regency, Route 1 runs for 5.7 km eastwards and then turns northeastwards for 28 km, passing through the subdistricts of Patipusi, Sayasam, Blanakan, and eventually Pamanukan. After intersecting with a provincial road connecting Pamanukan and Sabang, the seat of Sabang Regency, Route 1 crosses over Sipanagara River and curves to the east for 11 kilometers before entering Indramayu Regency and Suo Bridge. Route 1 then runs for 14 km eastwards before crossing over an irrigation channel located near the coast of Java Sea in Kertawinangun. The route then turns southeastward for 15 km before reaching Losarang, then it turns eastwards. A three-way junction in Lobanar, located 12 km east of Losarang, marks the change of Route 1's alignment as it moves southwards and the beginning of Route 7 leading for Indramayu. After passing under a railway bridge and having an intersection with Jail Ujung Jaya, Route 1 reaches Widasari Junction, located 8.5 km from Lobanar Junction. From here, Route 1 has two separate segments. The first one passes through Jatabarang and has a junction with provincial road leading for Karangampel, and the second one is a bypass road that merges with the segment, which has passed through Jatabarang 3 km southward. Most traffic follows the bypass road as it has less time to travel compared to entering Jatabarang. The route heads for village of Cleed in southeast direction as long as 6 kilometers, and then it turns southward for 6.5 km before going into Sayurban Regency. The route encounters a junction with Palaman and Kansai Toll Road some 15.5 km southeastward from the northern border of Indramayu Sayurban. Route 1 then reaches Palamanan Junction 2 kilometers southwards. Palamanan Junction also becomes southeastern terminus of Route 5 leading to Sumedang Regency. At this point, the old Great Post starts to run concurrently with Route 1 in most of northern coast of Java Pantura after running concurrently with Route 5. Route 1 interchanges with Palamanan Kansai Toll Road again in Plumban, located 6 kilometers eastward from Palamanan. Continuing 5 kilometers east, Route 1 encounters Ketapang roundabout, after which it turns southward, carried by Jail, Bridgend, HR, Darsono. After running for 1 kilometer, the route eventually enters Sirvan city and runs southwards for 1.5 km, followed by a bend eastwards. Jail, Bridgend, HR, Darsono becomes Jail, Gend, a Yani after Kangraksin Junction. Continuing 3.8 km eastwards, Jail, Gend, a Yani overpasses 2 railway lines, Sirvan to Croya Northern Lines. Harjamukti Bus Station, the main bus station in Sirvan, is also located in Jail, Gend, a Yani. In Pegamburan Junction, where a branch of Route 1 merges after running from downtown Sirvan as long as 2 kilometers. From this point, Route 1 moves southeastward, and Kalajaga Bridge, located 1 kilometer from Pegamburan, marks the end of Route 1's segment at Sirvan City. Upon entering Sirvan Regency again, Route 1 continues southeastward, parallels the shoreline. 6.5 km later, it intersects with a road leading for Kansai Toll Plaza, the easternmost point of Palaman and Kansai Toll Road, and the westernmost point of Kansai Pejagan Toll Road. Continuing its course eastwards, it passes over the subdistricts of Panjanan, Jebang, and Lasari before crossing over Sisinggarang River 21.5 km later. Central Java. Sisinggarang River is the western border of Central Java, from which Route 1 goes southeastward into Brebes Regency, adjacent with Northern Railway line. In Brebes section of Route 1, there are many salty egg sellers, as it becomes Brebes' main product. 4.5 km later, it turns eastwards and reaches downtown Brebes 22 km later. There, Route 1 is divided. The eastbound section follows Jail, Ahmad Yani, and the westbound section follows Jail, General Suderman, where it passes by Brebes Station. Jail, Ahmad Yani then merges with Jail, Gend, Suderman, and proceeds eastward as Jail, Hijamada. Continuing 2.5 km east, Route 1 enters Tegal City after crossing over Gangsar River. The route then runs for 3 km eastwards. After encountering a junction near Pramesthai Hotel, Route 1 turns northward, carried by Jail, Hyajamada 1 km and then Jail, MT Haryono 500 m. The junction also becomes the beginning point of Route 6 leading for Slough, the seat of Tegal Regency. After a junction near Port of Tegal, Route 1 goes eastward as Jail, Yos Sudorso and Jail, Martaloyo for 2 kilometers. Upon crossing over Ketiwan River, Route 1 goes into Tegal Regency. The route runs parallel with Northern Railway line in the south and coastline of Java Sea in the north. Before reaching Pemalang Regency, it travels eastward for 23 km, passes over the subdistricts of Kramet, Suradadi, and Warareja. A bridge over Plawangan River marks the entrance of Route 1 into Pemalang. Route 1 moves eastward for 1 kilometer, and then it turns southeastward for 1.5 km. Route 1 follows Pemalang Ring Road after Pegaran Junction. It initially runs for 6 kilometers eastwards and then curves southward. Route 1 turns eastward 780 and later after Ganjalan Junction, in where Jail, Karantis Kemerdakan coming from downtown Pemalang merges. Route 1 then goes 12 kilometers eastwards until a bend in Komal. It then curves northeastward for 3 kilometers, followed by another curving southeastward. Route 1 enters Pekalongan Regency some 450 and later after crossing Sepate River. The route runs eastward, where it passes through the subdistricts of Siwalan, Waradsa, and Turto. It leaves Pekalongan Regency 5.5 km later when crossing Medjuri River and then enters Pekalongan City. In this segment, Route 1 is carried by Jail, Hyajamada for 2 kilometers, when it is divided into 2 sections in front of Pekalongan Station. The eastbound sections follows Jail, Merdeka for 480 m. After crossing with Jail, Imam Banjul and Jail. Patriot, it turns southward as Jail. Pemuda, while the westbound section still follows Jail. Kijamada. The two sections meet in front of Muhammadiyah College of Economics, where it continues southward as Jail. KH. Mas Mansir, and has level crossing with Northern Railway line. 1 kilometer later, it encounters Panalon Junction, where Route 1 turns eastward as Jail. Jend. Suderman, Jail. Seshibuti, and then Jail. Sutomo. Panalon Junction also becomes an access to Cajun, the seat of Pekalongan Regency. After entering Batang Regency 4.5 km later, it goes into the downtown. Continuing 3.3 km east, it makes a curving to the northeast. When passing Sambong Bridge 550 m later, it begins to enter a mountainous region that becomes a continuation of Dieng Plateau located in the south. Route 1 winds through the subdistricts of Kandaman, Tulis, Sabah, Banyu Putih, and Gringsing, in which there are many warungs and restaurants founded to cater all long-distance travelers. Continuing 32 km east, it encounters a three-way junction in Suradadi village, where Route 1 goes eastward, while most traffic in north coast of Java takes the newer road diverging from here. 470 m later, the old Great Post Road diverges from Route 1. All heavy vehicles aren't permitted to pass through Route 1 in this section considering its sharp climbs. Instead, they are obliged to take the curvaceous Great Post Road that passes through Alasraban jungle. Route 1 and Great Post Road meets again 1.5 km northeastward. Route 1 then runs northeast for 360 m, and the mountainous segment before Semarang ends here. After encountering a junction near Gringsing Market, the route continues not until 3 kilometers eastward. After merging with the newer road that has been diverged from Suradadi, Route 1 moves northeastward for 910 m and then eastward for 570 m. Kuto River is the eastern limit of Batang Regiony, and Route 1 goes into Kendal Regency. After continuing 650 m eastward, it encounters a three-way junction in Sambangsari village, where Route 1 turns to the north to follow Wellery Ring Road to break the traffic in order to avoid traffic jam in Wellery. Route 1 continues 1.6 km north, then 1.5 km northeast and 1.5 km east. In this ring road, the Northern Railway line crosses underneath the road. In Wonotinggang village, Route 1 continues 6.5 km northeast and then curves to the north. 1.5 km later, it curves to the east, where it passes through the urban center of Sepiring. In front of Sepiring Sugar Factory, the route is divided between the east and westbound sections. The two sections meets again after crossing Badri River in Patpan, and then continues eastward as Jail. Soekarno Hatta. The route is divided again in downtown Kendal, where the eastbound section is still carried by Jail. Soekarno Hatta, where the westbound section is carried by Jail. Pemuda. The two sections meets again 1.5 km east and travels southeast for 1.4 km and then curves eastward for 3 kilometers. In a junction in Brangsung, Route 1 follows Kalingwangu Ring Road, which has been built in order to avoid every travelers from the congestion in Kalingwangu. In the Ring Road, the route moves 1.9 km northward followed by a curving eastward. 4 kilometers later, the route turns to southeast for 650 m and then southward for 750 m. After overpassing Northern Railway line, Route 1 merges again with the old road from Kalingwangu and then continues eastward. Kendal segment of Route 1 ends in Gambalangu, a hamlet notoriously known as Red Light District in Kendal Regency Semarang city border, 750 m later. Route 1 enters Semarang as Jail. Urip Sumoharjo for 4.5 km, followed by Jail. Siliwangi. From the beginning of Jail. Walasongo in front of Wijaya Kusuma Industrial Zone, Route 1 has common alignment with Route 14. Continuing 4.5 km east, it encounters Jaraka Junction, where Jail. Walasongo becomes Jail. Siliwangi. Jakarta Junction was also the eastern border of Kendal Regency before 1976. After running for 680 m eastward, Route 1 intersects with Krapiak exit of Semarang Inner-City Toll Road. Most of long-distance travelers who don't want to stop in Semarang usually takes the toll road. Route 1 moves eastward. Kalibintang Junction, located 1.7 km east, marks the divergence of Route 1 and Route 14, where Route 1 follows Harbour Ring Road northward, while Route 1 leading for Ungaran follows Jail. Jend. Sudirman. Kalibintang Junction also provides access toward Achmadiyani International Airport. Continuing 4 kilometers northward with a railway passing under it, Route 1 then turns eastward after crossing over western floodway Banjir Canal Barat. Continuing 3.7 km east, Route 1 moves to the south as Jail. Ronggo or Sito near port of Semarang. The length of Jail, Ronggo or Sito, is 1 kilometer and has railway crossing near Towing Station, and its southern portion is located in Old City. In the southern end of Jail, Ronggo or Sito, Route 1 turns eastward as Jail. Ketapang in one-way direction to the east, making travelers wishing to go to port of Semarang must encircle the Old City. After Jail, Ketapang merges with one-way westbound Jail. Raden Pata 1 kilometer eastward, Route 1 is carried by Jail. Caligaw. Jail. Caligaw then crosses over eastern floodway Banjir Canal Timur and intersects with railway line 490 m northeastward. Jail. Caligaw interchanges with Semarang Inner-City Toll Road 510 m northeast, and then passes through Harbour Industrial Zone before encountering Semarang City Demak Regency border 4.5 km later. When entering Demak Regency, Route 1 is aligned northeast for 15.5 km before intersecting with Demak Ring Road. In this segment, the route parallels with Sayang River, passes through the subdistricts of Sayang and Karingtingga. Most traffic traveling in the north coast follows the ring road instead of entering the downtown Demak. At an intersection located some 650 m northeast, Route 1 turns to north following Jail. Sultan Hadiwijaya for 1.7 km. After a junction near Demak Heroes Cemetery, the route is carried by Jail. Pemuda until intersecting with Jail. Sultan Pata 960 m eastward. Continuing 3.5 km northeast, it intersects with Demak Ring Road and proceeds to the northeast again for 3 kilometers before having a three-way junction in Trenggalai village with a road connecting Trenggalai with Jepara Regency. Passing through the subdistricts of Maijan, Gajah, and Karanganyar, Route 1 reaches Kutas Regency after crossing over Serang River 13 km northeastward. Around 550 m from Demak Kutas border northeastward, Route 1 intersects with Kutas Outer Ring Road in Jati. Most travelers not wishing to make a stop in downtown Kutas follows the Ring Road as it avoids traffic jam around Alun located 4.5 km from the junction. There is an access toward Japara from Alun. The route then continues 4.5 km eastward before intersecting with Kutas Outer Ring Road in Njembelrejo village. Route 1 then runs to the east for 4.6 km before turning to the northeast after encountering Imbulung Junction in Jekulo. Route 1 enters Pati Regency 5.5 km later, and it is aligned northeastwards for 8 kilometers before curving to the east in downtown Pati. 1.3 km later, it passes through Alun, and then it's still running eastward. From Alun there is an access toward Tayu and Japara via Bangsri. After an intersection located 740 m from Alun, it turns northeastwards. In Kaidmangan, located 3.5 km northeast of the junction, it intersects with the Pati Ring Road, that is currently uncompleted yet. Continuing 7.8 km northeast, the route reaches Juwana, where the road from Tayu merges with it. Near Alun, the route is divided between the east and westbound sections. The two sections meets again after crossing Salugongo River, and then continues northeastward for 990 m and then eastwards for 9 kilometers. After crossing over Ranjugunting River, the route goes into Rimbang Regency and begins to approach Java Sea and Cagliari. Route 1 then follows west-east direction and reaches downtown Rimbang after running for 11.5 km from Pati Rimbang border. In Adipura Monument, Route 1 intersects with Jail, Ra, Kartini, the road leading for Blora Regency. Route 1 then runs to the east for 3.5 km and then northeast after Selingapan Junction for 6 km. After that, Route 1 moves not until 3 km and has an intersection with Jail, Ayang Sambu leading to Bojonegoro Regency in East Java. 300 m later, its alignment changes after Kajar Junction, where it runs northward, going along the edge of Mount Lasem. 4.6 km later, it travels along the coast of Java Sea in north direction for 1 km, then followed by northeast direction for 3.5 km, passing near Sluk Power Station. It then curves to the southeast, and remained so until reaching East Java border 23 km later, after passing through the subdistricts of Kragan and Sarang. East Java. The first 18 km of Route 1 in Tuban Regency follows northwest-southeast direction until reaching Tambapoyo. From there, the route curves to the northeast for 8 km until curving again to the southeast, drawing farther away from shoreline. 12 km later, it runs again near the shoreline in Genu, from which it proceeds for another southeast direction. Upon arriving in Tuban some 7 km later, it is divided between east and westbound section. The eastbound section is carried by Jail, Martadinata and Jail, Suderman for 4 km, after which Route 17 that carries the old Great Post Road diverges from Route 1 while Route 1 itself turns to the south, carried by Jail, Manunggal until joining with Route 1's westbound section in Manunggal Monument. Its westbound section is respectively carried from east to west by Jail, Palawan, Jail, Hose, Kakraminoto, Jail, Mo, Yaman Jail, Pyajamadu, Jail, Dr. Wahidin, and Jail, Kukuyumer. Route 1 runs to the southeast for 3 km, continued by southward direction for 3 km, and then it runs southeastwards for 7 km before crossing over Solo River that becomes the southern border of Tuban Regency, marking the entrance of Route 1 in Lamongan Regency. Not far from the bridge, Route 1 curves northeast and merges with Route 20 that previously passes underneath the Route 1. The Route 1's section in Lamongan Regency mostly runs eastwards, passing through subdistricts of Babat Kukuk, Sukodedi, Tiri Lamongan, and Dekit for 32.5 km, followed by a southeastward curving. Northern Railway line runs parallel with entire Lamongan segment of Route 1. The route is crossed by the railway for 2 times, both located in downtown Lamongan. 1 km from the curving, Route 1 goes into Gresik Regency. The route still parallels with railway lines before drawing farther some 7.5 km later. Route 1 then curves to the east for 2 km, followed by southeastward curving. 1 km later, it curves east again. Route 1 is divided between east and westbound section near Bunder bus station located 1.5 km from the curving. It encounters a junction with Surabaya Gresik toll road approximately 1 km eastward, where most vehicles intending to go to Surabaya, Manyar or Sidoarjo take the toll road, while the vehicles intending to go to downtown Gresik take the route. Continuing 910 m east, it passes underneath the toll road and encounters Sumber Junction some 1.25 km later. Route 1 turns northwards for 840 m and proceeds to the east after reaching Gresik Kotabaru Junction. Route 1 then meets the eastern terminus of Route 17 some 2.5 km later, making it runs concurrently again with Great Post Road. Continuing 1.7 km east, it turns to the south after encountering a junction near PT Seaman Gresik Factory. Before entering Surabaya, Route 1 is divides between south and northbound section approximately 2.5 km later, and then both sections passing over Lamang River. Upon entering Surabaya, both sections merges again, and Route 1 encounters an intersection with Ramakalasari Toll Plaza. The route continues southeastward and is crossed by Gresik railway line branching off from Northern Line in Kandangan Station. Continuing 2.7 km southeast, Route 1 runs inside Margamulyo Industrial Zone for 6 kilometers. 1.5 km later, Route 1 passes underneath Surabaya Gresik Toll Road. In Morakrimbangan village, Route 1 turns to the south after encountering a junction, carried by Jail. Demak, which has a major intersection with Jail. Dupak providing an access into Surabaya Gresik Toll Road and Northern Railway Line. After proceeding for 2.5 km, Route 1 encounters a junction with Jail, Kalabuta, and turns to the east. It encounters an intersection near Tembok Market some 800 m later. From here, Route 1 is carried by Jail. Raya Arjuna running southward for 850 m and southeastward for 550 m. In Pasar Kembang, Route 1 meets a junction again and runs to the south as Jail. Pasar Kembang for 680 m. Route 1 encounters again with an intersection and proceeds southeast as Jail. Diponegoro for 2.7 km. Route 1 has two major intersections around Surabaya Zoo, in which it is carried by Jail. Wonokromo. After crossing over Mass River, Route 1 runs southwards, and overpassing Southern Railway Line 700 m later. From here until reaching Sidoarjo Regency in the south, Route 1 is carried by Jail. Ahmadiyani for 4.6 km, running parallel with Eastern Railway Line that has branched off from Surabaya Inner-City Line in Wonokromo Station that also becomes the eastern terminus for Southern Line. Waru roundabout marks the boundary between Surabaya and Sidoarjo. It also provides access to Surabaya Jempol Toll Road and Juanda International Airport. 960 m south of the roundabout, Route 1 overpasses a three-way junction with Route 15 leading for Mojokerto. In Aloha roundabout, located 2 kilometers south, Route 1 is divided between north and southbound directions, where the roundabout provides access toward the airport via Jail. Juanda. Eastern Railway Line still runs in the east of the route before underpassing the route in Bujuran some 6.5 km southward. When entering downtown Sidoarjo, Route 1 is carried by Jail. Aram. Mangandaprojo 450 m Jail. Jengalo 710 m and Jail. Yani 890 m, passing Alun. From here, Route 1 is divided between south and northbound directions. The southbound direction is carried by Jail. Gajamana 970 m and Jail. Majapahit 1.2 km, while the northbound direction is carried by Jail. Yatat Sabroto 350 m, Jail. Sunandar Priya Sudharma 1.2 km, Jail. Diponegoro 960 m and Jail. Thamrin 250 m. All heavy vehicles are obliged to take Sidoarjo Eastern Ring Road. After meeting in Tenggulunan village, Route 1 runs southward and intersects with railway line some 3.4 km later. Porong Arterial Road intersects with Route 1 nearby, and most traffic between Sidoarjo and Malang takes the Arterial Road in order to avoid traffic jam in Porong. After the intersection, Route 1 runs parallel with the railway and Sidoarjo mudflow. Continuing 1 kilometer south, it intersects with Surabaya Jempol Toll Road. Upon entering Pasuruan Regency, Route 1 meets an intersection where Route 23 leading to Malang diverges. Route 1 itself turns to the southeast and passes under a viaduct carrying Eastern Railway Line. The viaduct is very low that makes all heavy vehicles and buses have to take Route 23 first southward and enter Route 1 again in Jempol roundabout located 2.5 km from the viaduct. The roundabout also provides access toward former Jempol Porong segment of Surabaya Jempol Toll Road that has currently been damaged by Sidoarjo mudflow. Route 1 curves eastward and runs parallel with Eastern Railway line until entering Bangil, the seat of Pasuruan Regency, some 4.5 km later. Route 1 begins to divide between east and westbound segment in front of Pegadaian Building, Indonesian pawnshop service. After meeting 500 m later, Route 1 proceeds to the east. 2.5 km later, it intersects railway line and runs parallel with the railway. After proceeding to the northeast for 1.7 km, it curves to the southeast. After running for 6.5 km, Route 1 crosses Welling River, entering Pasuruan City. In a junction near Kraton Market located 460 m east, Route 1 is carried by two different trunk roads. The northern part is carried by JL. Soekarno Hatta 3.9 km JL. Balikota 430 m JL. Veteran 880 m and JL. H. Wanda 2 km, while the southern part is carried by JL. Gatot Subroto 2.9 km JL. Urip Sumo Harjo 1.3 km JL. Untung Surapati 700 m JL. Hasiam Asari 1.7 km and JL. Hose. Kakraminoto 2.2 km. After the two parts meet again in Blandongan village, Route 1 proceeds to the southeast. It exits Pasuruan City 670 m later, then it enters Pasuruan Regency again. Continuing 7 kilometers southeast, it intersects railway line near Grati. 11 kilometers east of the rail crossing, Route 1 reaches Minguling Bridge, marking the entrance to Probolinggo Regency. Continuing 1.5 km southeast, Route 1 crosses railway line near Tonga's Asri Restaurant, Tonga's, thus making the railway line runs parallel with the route. 1.5 km from railway crossing, there is a three-way junction that has been a most taken access toward Bromo Tengger Semeru National Park. Route 1 reaches Ketapang Junction, some 8.5 km southeastward, where the western part of Route 25 diverges. The junction is also an entrance to Probolinggo City. Route 1 initially runs to the east for 4 kilometers. After a junction with JL. Soroya, Route 1 curves southeastward and encounters the last crossing with Eastern Railway line 1 kilometer later. 580 m later, Route 1 encounters a junction with the eastern part of Route 25 in Randu Pangjang Junction. Route 1 enters Probolinggo Regency again some 860 m southeastward. In Jending, located 7 kilometers southeastward, the route approaches the coast of Madura Strait in Benter Beach and begins to curve eastwards for 5 kilometers before curving northeastwards and drawing away from the strait. Before being aligned eastwards 22 km later, the route passes through the subdistricts of Jending, Pajarak and Kraksan, seat of Probolinggo Regency, and Payton. 6 kilometers later, Route 1 enters Payton Generating Station and begins to be curvaceous. There is also a rest area in the vicinity of Payton Generating Station. Upon exiting Payton Generating Station some 6 kilometers later, the route enters Situbondo Regency and begins to travel along the coast. Continuing 10 kilometers east, it reaches Basuki, the biggest community in western Situbondo Regency. After passing through Lunalun, the route curves to the north and turns to the east after encountering a junction. In Sabo, located 3.5 km east, the route intersects with a regional road leading for Bondowoso Regency. In Mlandingen, it curves to the northeast 6 kilometers later, going along the edge of Mount Ringgit. The route runs adjacent with the coast until reaching Panarukan 22 km eastward. In this segment, the route also passes near Pasir Putih Beach, that becomes a popular tourist destination in the eastern salient of Java, Indonesian, Tapal Kuda. There are many hotels and restaurants built in the area. In Panarukan, there is a level crossing with now defunct Kalisat to Panarukan railway line. After crossing over Sampayan River, which becomes the eastern terminus of Great Post Road built by Deendels, the route reaches downtown Situbondo 7 kilometers eastward. Route 1 continues 9 kilometers east intersecting narrow gauge railway in Panji that carries sugarcane lorry to Panji Sugar Factory and curves to the southeast in Kapangan. After passing through the subdistricts of Arjasa, Jangkar Asimbagas, and Banyu Putih, the route enters Baluran National Park some 28 km southeast. In this segment, the route curves to the south and goes through a curvaceous path for 21.5 km. After intersecting with a road going into the national park, Route 1 goes into Banyuwangi Regency 450 m southward, marked by a bridge over Bajulmati River. After running for 14 km southeastward, Route 1 approaches the coast of Bali Strait in Bangsering village, and remains so until reaching Ketapang 9 km southward. Before reaching Ketapang, the route passes through Wetudogol Beach, a place that gives a sight over Bali. Travelers, Route 1's course ends in front of Ketapang Ferry Terminal, and its course toward downtown Banyuwangi is continued by Route 3. References